I don't know if you've looked in the group, but I did this plan because when I was writing the cutting guide, I realised, evening Sharon, that I had no way of telling you which bit it related to. So I've done this before. If you've made my rolled up mini, you'll recognise this format. Yeah, I'll just explain to you how it works. Evening Michelle, evening Crafty Pauline, evening Terry. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving? Hi Sharon. So yeah, when I'm writing a cutting guide and I'm trying to tell you which page it is, that's dead easy if we've only got a couple of pages, but this is a little bit more complicated than that. Hi Sue. So what I've done is I've drawn like the back and the front of the book. So you've got your page and then this little thin bit in between. This is like where the spines go. But I've drawn it as if it's going to be laid out in full. And so you can see which bit goes which. So at the top here, I've given each page a name. So when you see in the cutting guide, the name, that is what this bit relates to. And then this is what I've called each bit on the page. So for instance, page 1 is a pocket, and I'm going to show that to you. Oh, Terry, I am glad. Hi, Sally Ann. So I can't easily kind of, you know, lay this all out because it's so big, but, oh, just let me get rid of that one. The books everywhere. Not really a surprise, is it? Sorry, just Ellie's comment. Too clever. Did Mark make that? Ellie Walton, you are banned. I did it. Cheeky mare. Evening Ali, evening Polo. I'm not going to forget that, Ellie. Right, so here we go. Let's look at, this will give you a good idea. So here, page 1 has a pocket. This is page 1. It has a pocket. And it's a little bit narrower than the other pages, so I've drawn it that way on here. This isn't to scale, by the way. Evening, Diana. Yeah, if only Ellie, eh? Oh, can you two just stop it? I'm trying to work here. I'm trying to be professional. So, page 2. It says page 2 at the top. This says slant pocket and flaps. Here's the flaps. Here's the slant pocket. It's not rocket science. So the likes of Ellie and Mark will understand it. Moving on. Page 3. Acetate pocket flap. Well, kind of speaks for itself. But then it looks like on the back you can see that I've done things with different sort of, you know, dotted lines and stuff. So that would pertain to the pocket there and then these two flaps here. So you get the idea. This is kind of how I'm still reading this, Ellie. So this kind of explains how I've put this bit together. Okay, so it'll help when it comes to showing which bit we're working on, and hopefully will make my cutting guides a little bit more understandable. Now, I set you a little bit of homework last week, which was to mat and decorate your stacked pocket pages, which, oh look, page 7 and page 11 would be your stacked pocket pages. These, see? Yeah, okay. Right, I haven't done mine, and I'll tell you for why. The reason I haven't done mine is because we were talking about me using a different paper for mine, and I know that wedding came up as the sort of the most popular suggestion, and also christening. Well, I couldn't really find any paper that was specifically wedding related, you know, that had enough pages. But what do you think? Shall I use this? Please say yes, because I haven't brought anything else upstairs with me. But this one's called Garden Dreams. It's well, you American ladies and gents will know this one, Craft Smart. We call it Craftsmith, but it's also oh, what's it called? Michael's Recollections. So you'll know it, but it's really great value for money because it's got 48 sheets. Oh, hang on, let me just open this up. It's got 48 sheets of paper in it, and they really are really good value for money. But it was kind of, I thought it would be something that I would make a wedding album out of. That was my thinking. So that's what I'm intending to use for my book, okay? So I hope that will satisfy more or less the wedding part of this, okay? Now, I have had a few messages this week asking me, I did think about pumpkin vines actually, Ellie. It did cross my mind, but then I thought no, because she'll only be rude. Anyway, I've had a couple of messages this week asking me about how I mat. I don't know where that's come from. How I mat things. And I thought the cutting guide, Sally Ann, is in the group. If you go into Crafting Together with All Brands, where we are now. Oh, Mark's going to put the link up. But if you go into topics, you'll see it says Cal Summers workshops. If you click on that, it'll bring up all of my posts, and you'll find the cutting guide on there. I've also popped them into Paper Scissors Story as well, so you can get them both ways. Hi, Charmaine. So yeah, people have asked me about how I mat things, and I thought I might just leave my matting and just show you a little bit about how I do it. Now, there's 1,000,001 ways to do this. And a lot of it is so much to do with personal choice. When I'm matting something, I like to let my cardstock show, my base cardstock, but not so much that it overpowers. So I have in my head a way that I always mat. So as you remember, last week we made our flaps like this, didn't we? And we've got our stack pockets, which you were going to go and match yourselves. Did you do your homework? Hi, Mary. Thanks, Jill. They're not too bad, are they? Evening, Noreen. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So I'm just going to grab a couple of papers. I'll have that one, I think. And what else can I use for my stack pocket? Maybe, what's bluey? Let's go for that one. Now, when I'm measuring to mat, I'm going to start off. I'm going to start off at the bottom, and I'm going to start off with this pocket here. So I'm going to measure how wide, and it's obviously going to be the same all the way up. So I'm going to measure how wide that is, and that is 6 inches. So for me, oh, Noreen, I am glad. Fantastic. Have you tried it yet? Oh, come on, guys. You're showing off. Bronwyn, Karen. I'd like to see pictures so far. Don't forget to put them in the group so we can see them. Oh, I'm so impressed. Right, so this is how I do my matting. Right, this isn't the best trimmer actually to show you this, because the bit that we need kind of isn't on it exactly. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut this at 6 inches. Evening, B. Except I don't cut it at 6 inches. For me, to have that little border around, I always cut my paper at 1/8 of an inch less. So if I know that it's 6 inches wide, I will cut my paper at 5 7/8 of an inch. Now, some people like to have it showing their cardstock a little bit more. I mean, I've seen a few beautiful books made lately with coloured cardstock as opposed to, you know, the plain old white and black. And when you're using something like that, a coloured cardstock, it's absolutely amazing, I think, you know, if more of it's showing. So you might choose to cut it, say, 1/4 of an inch smaller, so you get a bigger border around it. So you might cut it at 5 3/4 of an inch, for example. But my personal choice, and this is just me, is I like to cut mine with just 1/8 of an inch showing around. So I'm going to cut my paper now at 5 7/8 of an inch. So let's just have a look. 5 7/8 of an inch. Okay, so I'm just going to check that that width is correct. And what you'll see here is that when I lay my paper down on top, if I just move that, I'm hoping that you can see this. You can see that there's just a little bit of a gap around my cardstock, okay? So I'm going to do that with that one. I'm going to use 2 colours on my stack pocket. So I'm going to cut this one at 5 7/8 as well. Let's have a look. Right. Let's just check that's the same width. With these, this particular trimmer that I'm using, there is a slight glitch on it, which Mark has found a workaround on it, because we miss a bit of the measurement here in the middle, but Mark's designed these great little acetate bits that go on, so that you know exactly what the measurements are. The only thing is I put mine on upside down, so I need to replace mine, and I'm going to do it this weekend. So anyway, I've got my 2 papers. No, yeah, I'm going to let you do it, dear. Right, so I know that that 6 across. This bottom pocket, let's measure it. That's 3 inches. So I'm going to start with this pretty paper, and I'm going to cut that at 2 7/8 of an inch. Now I always check before I glue that that's the right size, and that's just about perfect, which was luck rather than judgment, I can assure you. Now you can obviously ink the edges of your papers if you want to define it, or you don't like to see the white showing, but I'm not going to do that because it's just going to take too long when I'm just trying to show you how I mat things. So this is my bottom pocket. So this is just kind of like the end of the line. This is the bit that you're going to see once we've put inserts in. Okay, so if I just pop that on there, I've now matted that bottom pocket. This next pocket, even though the gap between the top of the pocket and the top of the next pocket is 1.5 inches, I'm actually going to cut my paper at 2 inches, and there is a reason for that. So I'm going to choose my next bit of paper, and I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. And the reason for that is because I want to slip that edge inside that pocket like that, because that gives me, in my mind, a much more secure, professional edge and look to my pocket. So I've cut that 1/2 inch longer than it needs to be, but it means that I'll be able to slip my inserts in and out very, very easily, and it just looks better. So I'm going to just glue that one down. So like I said, I don't like too much of a margin around the outside of mine, so I only ever cut 1/8 of an inch off. You might like more. It's totally up to you. Okay, so now I need to cut the next one. So I'm going to cut this alternating one here. I'm going to cut that at 2 inches, because once again, I'm going to slip this into that pocket. So let me just do that. Slip that in there like that. Just take my glasses off a second because I can't see close up. Lie that down there. 2 inches again on the next one.
Do you know roughly how many 12 by 12 papers you use on your folio?
Yes, I used over 40. There is a resources list knocking about somewhere in the group as well, that tells you what you're going to need in terms of pattern papers, etc, etc. But this is very, very, very heavy on the paper.
Loki's gone mad.
What the heck's going on? Right, okay, and then this last one, that's 3 1/4 inches, but I'm going to cut it at 3 3/4 inches. Hi Anne, I didn't say hi to you the other day, and I noticed that you popped on. I missed your hi. So hello, nice to see you.
Hello.
So let's just slip that in the pocket. There we go. Now, when it comes to it, I will come back and I'll decorate these up a bit more. But I find it's much easier to do this bit of what I call base decorating before we actually come to put the book together.
That's 40 plus 12 by 12, isn't it?
Yeah. 40 plus 12 by 12. Sorry, Celine, it's a really heavy on paper book, this one, because actually it is quite big as books go. So what we've just done is we've just decorated up page 7, which is a stacked pocket. Okay, so that's kind of how this unit works, and I hope that it will be helpful to you to have this document. So when you look at the cutting guide, so it's here for tonight. Oh, hang on, that's not it. So for tonight, I've got the cutting guide. It's in 2 parts because it's quite long. So I've put using conjunction with book plan, inside back page, right? This jumps about all over the place. Mark told me off earlier this week because I don't stay in one place, so I'm going to try really hard to do that tonight. So I'm really sorry. But inside back page. So I'm going to go and look at my plan here, and I can see the inside back page, which is the middle bit of the book. Here is this bit, which is a flap with a belly band, which when you open up our book is this bit here. Okay, so it's a belly band. So we've got an insert here. We'll do these last of all the inserts. And then we've got a belly band with a pocket on it. Okay, open that up and we've got another pocket underneath. And that is what we are going to make next. The base cardstock, I can't remember. It's probably somewhere in the same region. It's going to be about 40 sheets, I would say.
It doesn't say the resource.
Does it not?
No.
It's going to be about the same.
Oh, 50 sheets.
Yeah,
A4 size plain cardstock.
Yeah, and that'll include
around 50 sheets.
Yeah, around 50 sheets, and that will include your photo mats. I do try and stick to A4 card where I can because it's so much cheaper to use A4 than constantly using sheets of 12 by 12. So that's my theory.
Just posted a link to the resource.
Oh, thanks, darling. That's lovely. Okay, so is everybody happy with that? Does that all make sense as to why I'm doing it this way, why I've done the plan and how that all works? And are we all cool with that? Is there anything else that I need to explain? I will obviously go through. We have made the base pages, Tracy, but we haven't added any of the fancy bits on, really. The only bit that we've added on is the bit that I've just decorated, which is the stacked pocket of page 7 and page 11. That's the only bit that we've actually done anything to. Okay. Cool. Right, okay. So what we're going to do now is the inside back page, which is the middle bit. Okay. So what I want you to do is we've got all of our base pages that we've got left over here, and these are all the same size. Okay. These are all the ones that we made last week. These are 7 3/4. by 10.5, and we should have 1, 2, 3. That would make sense. Yeah, 3 of those. So what we're going to work on is the middle one. So grab one of them, okay, because that's the one that we're going to work on. The back of it is going to be just a plain piece of card or of pattern paper, because it is the very, very back of our book. So when you're decorating this, all you need to do is put a flat piece of paper on. The reason I'm saying that is because obviously when you're looking at your book, this is what's going to be flat on the floor, on the table, you know, or your knee. So, you know, you don't want to have anything else on it. You need it to keep it flat. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do this bit, but more importantly, we're going to do the inside bit. So, ladies and gents, if you can grab some of your base cardstock, we will proceed and make the bits that go on the inside cover. Okay. So I'll just grab some. And the first thing that we're going to make is that flap. So I want you to cut one at 7 by 10.5 inches. And ladies with new trimmers, I want to hear that.
It's going to echo around.
It is going to be echoing everywhere, isn't it? Brilliant. So that's 10 by 7 inches.
7 by 10.5.
7 by 10.5. Is it 10.5?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Glad you're on the ball, dear. 7 by 10.5 inches. Although we all know it's unlikely I'm right. Right, okay, so 7 by 10.5 inches. Then I need you to cut the belly band, which goes on top of this flap. And I need you to cut it at 11 by 5.5 inches. This cart's filthy. Never mind. 11 by 5.5 inches, and that's our belly band that goes on our flap. Then the pocket that goes onto the belly band, I want you to cut at 5.25 by 6.5 inches. So 5.25 by 6.5 inches. And then our final cut for this page is going to be the big pocket that goes underneath the flap. And I want you to cut that at 8.75 by 6.5 inches. And if you are in the UK and you're using UK sized A4 paper, you are going to have to cut it this way round. So your 8.75 inches is going to have to be that way because you won't get it out the other way. So 8.75 by 6.5 inches. Okay. Right, you can put your trimmer away for a moment. Just get rid of these bits of card. Now, some of these bits of card you need to keep because they'll be useful when we come to do our inserts and stuff. But some of it, probably not so much, and you can just put that in your recycling pile. Okay, so now if you can grab your scoreboards. Just wondered where mine was there. I had to tidy up. Can't find a thing. No, not even Loki. Oh God, poor boy. Such a bad mother. Right, okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is go back to our flap, which, as you will remember, we cut at 10.5 by 7 inches. And I want you to score on the 10.5 inch side, which means we're going to put the 10.5 inches as at the top. And we're going to just score at 1/2 inch, because this is a dead easy flap to make. Okay? Oh, hi, Mel. Oh, we'll get that video call in after we've done. The one that I've been promising all day that hasn't happened. Okay, so the belly band, which is 11 by 5.5 inches, We're going to score on the 11.5-inch side. So we're going to put that at the top of our scoreboard. And we're going to
11-inch side.
11-inch side. Yeah, what's the matter with me? Well, what's new, really? We're going to score on the 11-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 10.5 inches. Okay. Just checking that's the right size. It is. Okay, then we've got the little pocket that goes onto the belly band. And this pocket is 5 1/4 by 6.5 inches. So we're going to score first of all on the 6.5-inch side, which means the 6.5 inches goes at the top. And we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And we're going to score at 6 inches. Scoot it round 90 degrees, so we're now scoring on the 5 1/4 inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. So what we've got is a pocket with 2 intersecting score lines, so it forms that U shape, and that's going to be our pocket. Okay, then we're going to do exactly the same with the big pocket for inside. We are going to score on the 8 3/4 inch side first. And we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And we're going to score at 8 1/4 inches. Scoot that round 90 degrees. So we're now scoring on the 6.5 inch side. And we're going to score at 1/2 inch. So this is just a bigger version of the pocket that we've just made. That we've just scored. We've got our intersecting U there. Okay. So pop your scoreboard to one side and let's get on and make this pocket. Oh, I don't know what I've done. Yes, kinky mitering. Because what is a class without some kinky mitering? So we're going to have a look at these pockets that we've got here, the two that we just made, and we're going to start off by mitering them. So if you grab your scissors, I want you to snip up to where the score lines intersect. Then change the angle of your scissors slightly and chop it off. So you haven't got a straight mitre straight across. It's got a bit of a kink in it. And you must know by now why I do that. But just in case you don't, it's to make your corners lie super flat on your pockets. Because if you go straight across, I have found many times that I've still got a little bulge. And this is one time you don't want one. Okay, right, so we are now good to glue. Good to glue. Oh my God, that was so clever. Good to glue. I've got to remember that. Will you write it down for me? Because that's dead cool. Good to glue. Do you know what? Sometimes I amaze even myself with my utter brilliance. Good to glue. Yeah. Love it. Right, okay, so take your big flap. We've got one score line on this, and all I want you to do is just fold it over. Grab your bone folder. I'm going to use a little one tonight, only because it was closest. And I'm going to score on that. Okay? Now, if you wanted to, you can round the corners. It's entirely up to you. But I'm going to, because why not?
Mel reckons be kinky, reduce bulges.
Yes, how very true. Actually, we were having a long conversation about that earlier, but we'll leave that for now. Yeah. Yeah, new business idea. It involved Mel and a whip, that's all I'm saying.
A whip?
A whip, yes.
Whip.
Okay, so this is the belly band piece. I'm just folding on my score lines, and I'm just giving them a bit of a burnish. And then this belly band is going to fit exactly in the middle of the front of that flap. Okay? Now, I eyeball it. It's up to you. You can measure it if you want, but, you know, where's the fun in that? So I'm going to glue that down now. I'm going to put some glue onto my flaps, onto the inside of my flaps. Yes, sort of, Ellie. Times are hard. No, don't start getting excited. It wasn't that sort of business. Well, anyway, so we're going to just put this onto the front of our flap now. If you stick that down, that should fit quite nicely. Good to glue. That is so cool. We're going to have to use that somewhere. Good to glue.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not in trouble, darling. What would you be in trouble for? You're never in trouble. Me, on the other hand, completely different kettle of fish. Right, we're going to go for the small. Oh, look at this. I've used white card that's a slightly different shade to the other one. Never mind. We're going to fold our pocket now. This is the smaller pocket that goes on front of the belly band. Like that. And let's burnish it down. And then this pocket is going to go on the bottom of this flap, on top of the belly band, just like that. Okay? It's 50 Shades of White card, Michelle. I'm really knocked off now. I don't know whether you can, but I can see this is a completely different shade of white. Okay, so I'm going to glue that now onto my flap. I do have many bulges, Ellie. Many, many bulges. You can only confirm the latter. That I've got bulges and flaps.
I can't confirm whether Mel's got a whip.
Oh, Mel's got loads of whips. She's got a whole wardrobe full of them. Yeah, well, so she tells me. I'm going to be in so much trouble when we've finished. Right, okay, so that is that flap made. So here is my base page. Now, for me, this flap bit without the flaps that, you know, that we've got up here, this is going to be the back of my book, the flap bit. So it doesn't matter which way round you do it at all. I'm just a little bit OCD when it comes to stuff like that. So what I've got to do now is attach my flap to the front of my back cover, the inside back cover, like that. So you can see that it's shorter and it's not as wide as the actual base page. Taunted or tainted, Mel. So I'm going to put, Linda, I presume you mean the class, Linda, and not Mel's whips thing. Upload to YouTube. I'm going to assume you mean the class. Yes, I will do, dear. Don't you worry. Eventually. But yeah. Don't worry though if you're not following it and working along, because the class will still be in the group. That's not going away. You can access that at any time, and it will remain in Crafting Together for all yeah, for eternity. So you don't need to worry about missing out or you know, lagging behind, because it's just not gonna, you know, you can access it at any time. So I'm just going to eyeball this now, and I'm just going to put this flap in the middle of my inside back cover, like that. Okay.
Elaine Wilson, things got lost.
Elaine, I'm totally and utterly lost. I'm working on the inside back page. So we've got our flap that we made. I put a belly band on it with a little pocket. This is the inside of my back cover, and now what I'm going to do is attach this big pocket. So I'm going to fold those flaps over on the big pocket. What are you laughing, Anna? No, Ellie. Just don't even go there. Honestly. Okay. Right, so there's my pocket. And that pocket is going to fit on the bottom of my inside back cover. Right at the very bottom like that. Okay? Cauliflower. No, that can be the safe word. Although when you'd ever need to use it, I really can't think.
Mel, you've got to tell that now.
Who? Mel?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
She says, well, you stop with the whips. So
oh, she has the safe word, yeah. Oh, I get it now. I did wonder. Somebody crawling under my feet.
Ellie reckons it's moist.
Oh, no, TMI.
Now, the safe word's moist.
No, I know. Still TMI. Right, so I'm just putting my good to glue. I can't get enough of that. It's got to use it for something. No, Elaine, this is a completely separate, brand new base page. I'm doing it all the wrong way round, which Mark told me off for, but it made sense in my head. This is a completely new base page. We haven't done any more. We're going to go back now to the one that we did last week. I'm just doing it all the wrong way round. Now, homework. You can decorate this now. So on the back of it, it's just going to be a plain piece of paper. And then here, you can decorate all of these bits up. Your pocket in the back and that. Whatever. So I'll just show you mine quickly so you know which piece I'm working on. So when I open my book up, this...
Tracy Peaching recommends a new website called Good to Glue.
Good to Glue. I know, I think it would actually. I think that's just...
I think I better go and buy it.
Stunning. Says I am easily pleased. In what respect? I am actually, but yeah. So what we've just made is this flap here. It's got a belly band. We'll do inserts later. It's got a pocket. When I open it up, I've got this flap here that I just decorated flat and just put a couple of photo mats on. Oh, good to glue. I think that's very clever. Tell him to stop being so cheeky, otherwise I'll make sure that you confiscate his Lego. And then there's the big pocket here, and this has just got a big photo mat in it, but we'll worry about photo mats at the end of the project. Okay, so that's what we've just made. So that is a piece, it's a standalone piece, all entirely on its own. So you can put that to one side now. And now I want to go back to the bits that we did last week, which were these bits. We made this. And we made those stacked pockets, which were what I decorated earlier. Okay? So we're going to go back to that. So if you look at my plan, the stacked pocket, is page 7 and page 11. Okay, so if you want to grab those now, your page 7 and page 11 that we made, I have no idea where mine are. Now what I want to do are, on the plan, page 1 and page 6, which are the bits that go behind the stacked pocket. Okay? This is what I said about having your plan to hand. It'll make it make an awful lot more sense. So we've got our stacked pocket that we did last week. Now I want to make the ordinary pocket that goes in this bit here, which I'll show you on this one. Here's my stack pocket. And I want to make the pocket that goes behind here. Okay, so it's directly on the back. Oh, it's directly on the back of this bit here. Okay, right, so grab your trimmers. Let me find my cutting guide, which so far has been right tonight, so be prepared for it all to go horribly wrong now. And on the cutting guide, Follow La Folio Part 2A. Oh, cat had me. Typical. Part 2A. We've just done the inside back page. And now we're going to do page 1 and 6, which are the ones that go behind the stacked pocket that we made last week. So we've got 2 sides to do, so we're going to cut the same thing twice. So I'm going to get some card. I'm going to aim for white card instead of off-white card. And I'm going to cut at 7 by 5 inches. Now we should be able to get this out of one sheet. So if I cut at 7 inches across, and then I cut 2 lots of 5, I will get that out of one sheet. Okay, I'm going to put my trimmer to one side. I'm going to get my scoreboard. Remember, these are both exactly the same. So we're going to score on the 7-inch side. So I'm putting 7 inches at the top. And I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. And I'm going to score at 6.5 inches. I'm going to scoot it round 90 degrees. So I'm now scoring on the 5-inch side. And I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the other pocket. So on the 7-inch side, I'm scoring at 1/2 inch. And I'm scoring at 6.5 inches. I'm scooting round. And I'm scoring on the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay? And I'm going to put my scoreboard away. Right, kinky mitering. We're going to snip up to where the score lines intersect and just chop those corners off. Same on both pieces. And we're going to fold and burnish. My video keeps freezing. I'm taking it, it's not freezing with you guys because it's freezing terrible on mine.
It's pretty warm in here.
It is warm.
It's hot.
Okay, that's good. Right, so this is the bit that we did last week. We've got our flap here. We've got the stacked pocket, and I'm going to open that up. And on the other side of that stacked pocket, I'm going to attach that little pocket there to the bottom of my page. So I'm going to just put some glue onto those flaps, and I'm going to stick that down right at the very bottom. Okay. So now I've got a pocket on this page, and I'm just going to fold that over and make sure that it folds flat, which it does. Miraculous. Okay, so now I can decorate that up because I've only got the 2 pieces of pattern paper to add to this. I've just got to decorate up my pocket, and I've got to decorate up the back of it. So where's the other one? The one that goes on the other side. As you remember, these are mirror images of each other. I just haven't decorated this one yet. So I'm going to open up this, and I'm going to pop the other pocket in exactly the same place. So some glue. And I'm going to pop that down there.
No block nozzle.
Eh?
No block nozzle.
No, that's because I was working with it earlier, so there's no chance to dry. Okay, so that's both of those bits done. These are the far extreme edges of the book. Okay, so you can decorate those up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the pages that fit here. So if you look at our plan, which I've lost, if you look at our plan now, we're going to work on page 2 and page 5, and these are exactly the same as each other. They're just mirror images. So we've got a slanted pocket, which I'm going to show you how to make, and then we've got these flaps, which, if you'll remember, in our book when we come to open it, I did warn you this was a big book. We've got a slanted pocket here, and we've got those 2 flaps, which are sized exactly for 6x4 inch photos. Okay, so we're going to make those up. That's what we're going to do next. Okay, so I can get rid of my first page and look at my cutting guide B. Okay, so we'll cut the bits out and then we'll start putting that page together. So I want my trimmer and I want my plain cardstock. I've jumped about a bit. I've done it the wrong way around again for you. I'm sorry, dear. I know. I've done it again. I'm sorry. I'm never going to get this right. Right, we're working on page 2 and 5. Sorry, dear. Just like to keep you on your toes. So we're going to cut 2 at 6.5 inches square. Keep these bits. Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle. Yeah, it is for me. I'm hoping it's obviously not going to do that on the recording.
Well, it's been fine.
Okay, so those are my 2 slanted pockets at 6.5 inches square. Now I need to cut out 4 of the photo flaps mats, and I'm going to cut those at 6.5 by 4 inches. And I need 4 of those. Okay, so 4 at 6.5 by 4 inches. Am I boring you, dear?
It's the heating is.
It is really warm, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Grab your scoreboard. We're going to start off dead easy. And we're going to score each of these flappy photo mats. And we're going to score on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And that is the same on all 4. So you're scoring on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay, now the slanted pockets, we only need 2 score lines on this, but they have to intersect. So we're going to score on one of the 6.5 inch sides at 1/2 inch, turn it round 90 degrees and score on the other side at 1/2 inch. So what you've got here are 2 intersecting score lines, and that's all we're going to do on that. But we're going to do exactly the same on both. Okay, so once you've done that, a standard UK photo, I would say, is 6 by 4 inches diameter. We can print smaller than that. I would say that our average sizes are 6 by 4, 5 by 7. But I mean, I use an app on my phone I use a selfie printer at home, so I print my own photos as I need them, and I'll use an app to downsize them. So if I wanted to, say, have half-size photos, 3 by 4 inches, I'd just simply add these into my app, and then it would resize and put them onto a 6 by 4 photo size in the most economical way, and then I could just print that through my machine. But we've got a lot of places here. I mean, I'm thinking I'm gonna advertise now, but I've had quite a few photos developed at Asda before now, very simply because they offer 1,000,001 different sizes. They will even print 12 by 12 photos. Ours certainly will. This is, you know, really useful. One of my all-time favourite scrapbook layouts that I ever did was using a 12 by 12 photo. So yeah, on average, the standard size is 6 by 4 ish, because 6 by 4, it just, you know, no 2 rulers are the same. That's all I'm saying. Okay, right, so let's start with the most difficult thing. We're going to make these slanted pockets. So where that score line intersects, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to kinky mitre, because then it's done, isn't it? Jane, the score on the 6.5 inch piece is, you're just going to make 2 score lines.
Yeah, I'll just type it out.
Oh, thank you. At 1/2 inch. But they've got to intersect.
Just rotate it 99.
Yep. Okay. Now what we need to do is to make the slant. So I'll just double check what measurement I did it at. Okay. So now I'm going to use pencil, if I can find one, or I might just use my scissors to mark it out. And I'm going to measure in from this side. You see where the score line is here? I'm going to measure 2 3/4 inches. Just make a little mark in my paper. Then I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to measure in 2 3/4 inches on that side as well. So what I've got are 2 marks there and there. You probably see them a bit. You can use a pencil if you want to. Okay, and I'm going to do exactly the same on the other one. So I'm going to measure in 2 3/4 inches, and I'm going to just make a mark. And then 2 3/4 inches from the other one. So these are at the opposite sides to where those score lines intersect. So we've mitered that corner, but I've measured in 2 3/4 from that side and 2 3/4 up there. Okay? Right. Now I'm going to grab my trimmer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up with my trimmer those 2 score marks, or those 2 marks that I made. Okay, so I'm going to line those up and I'm going to cut that off. So I've cut now between those 2 marks that I made. I've just cut that straight off. And I'm going to do the same with the other one as well. So line up where my 2 marks are. 2 marks, can you imagine? God, not bad enough. Line up those 2 marks. I love you, darling. He's not listening. Oh God, I'm in trouble again. I haven't done anything right tonight. It's all gone horribly wrong.
Last time I cooked you tea.
You always cook me tea, because you're lovely. Right, so what we've got is we've got our slanted pockets, but we're going to want them to sit opposite ways round to each other, okay? So once you've got them pointing the opposite way, what you need to do is just fold your flaps underneath for the pocket so that your flaps are kind of going in opposite directions. It means that you're going to be folding the wrong way round on one if you're a proper scorer, but I don't really bother too much with that. So what I've got my 2 pockets at opposite sides. Okay? And now I'm just going to burnish those flaps down. Okay, so now I've got my pockets, but they're opposite way rounds to each other. So here, I'm going to take my left hand page. So this flap here is on the left hand side. And I'm going to add in my left hand pocket. So it's going to be stuck to the book on the left hand side. So I'm going to stick some glue down onto those flaps, and I'm going to stick this to my book now. As you know, we've got our pocket here, and I'm going to stick this one down, but I'm going to keep it slightly away from this pocket here, just ever so slightly away from where that page folds, so that everything sits nice and flat. So now I've got a pocket on my page that's got a slant, but it's got open sides. It's essentially got 3 open sides. So this is open, this is open, this is open. Okay, hold on, just let me get rid of Melanie, who's messaging, and I can't see what you guys are saying. Probably, I don't know. Right, okay.
It was 240.
Yeah, I use well, my supplier calls it 4 sheet, which roughly equates to 240 GSM. Okay, there or thereabouts. Okay, so that's that side done. Now, of course, I want to put my flaps in as well, my flappy photo mats. So I'm just going to fold on that score line. Burnish those quickly. And I'm going to attach these to my book. Now, it doesn't really matter where you put them. I'm going to eyeball mine. You can measure yours. I was going to leave a gap. See, same top and bottom with a gap in between there. If you want to measure it out, measure it out. Don't ask me what the measurements are because I haven't got a clue. Mel, we need to shush because our messages are popping up in front of her, putting her off. That's right. Okay, right, so I'm going to just attach this flap to the very far right hand side. Actually, I might just bring that down a bit. To the very far right hand side of my book. Right by the opening that we will eventually be putting our spine into. And let's put that one down there, just eyeball it a bit. That's more or less the same. Okay, so now what we've got is we've got our pocket here, we've got our 2 flaps there, and our slanted pocket there. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side because I will be able to mat that now. Now the other side, I've got my slanted pocket and it opens to the right. Okay, so I've got my little pocket here and I'm going to add this slanted pocket to the bottom of the other page. Okay, like that. Mel, will you just tell Bri that I'll have words later?
Bri with a Y?
Yeah, Bri with a Y. Okay, so now I've got my pocket in here, my slanted pocket. This one's opening to the left hand side. Okay, but I've left a little bit of a gap down here so that when I close that it just folds really easily. Okay, and now I've got my last 2 flaps here. Which I'm going to fold and burnish. Now, we could do the other side, but in the spirit of doing mistakes in my cutting guide, I've realised that I've missed a pocket off. So we've done an hour and a bit, so I am going to leave it here for tonight, but next week we're going to start on this back bit here. Okay, so let me just attach that there. And there. Okay. So now what I've got is my mirror image. So I've got my flaps, which I haven't really put in the right place. There we go. I've got my flaps that open up like that, and I've got my pocket there. Okay, so homework, ladies and gents. I want you to finish. I'm sure you've already matted your stack pockets, but I want you to mat these bits, these bits. I just put I just stamped place photo here on mine, but if you want to add some pattern paper onto those, then please do. Okay, and then that bit will be finished. Leave that bit blank because we obviously haven't made what needs to go on there yet. And we can also decorate the other bit that we did, which was our inside back. So just flat matting on there, and then the flap, the belly band, etc. on there. So you can decorate those up with pattern paper. Okay, so let me just remove Mel. And there we go. So is that okay for everybody? A little bit of homework for you, not too strenuous. If you've got any problems, you know where I am. Just give us a shout. Mark will help you, especially if it's to do with numbers. Yes, quite. Mark is definitely a numbers guy. I don't know how I'd manage without him, really. I should let him write the cutting guides. I should actually. Have we said that before?
I did offer.
Did you? Oh, okay. Well, Mark can write them next week.
You made such a good job today.
I did, apart from one thing. Yes, so there we go. So we'll meet back in here next Friday at 7:30 p.m. GMT. And if you've got any questions, just let me know. Okay, and I'd be more than happy to go through any bits you are stuck on. So have a great weekend, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving for yesterday for all you lovely American people, and we'll see you really soon. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.
Oh.